Through the course of the investigation thus far, it has been determined that some personal information and personal health information has been accessed. I know that we all want answers. We don't have all the answers today. God, how I wish I did.
Officials in Newfoundland and Labrador say there is evidence patient and employee information was stolen in last week's cyber attack. The hack shut down some healthcare services across the province, affecting thousands of people.
Having cancer is like having a full-time job because there are so many appointments, you know. So this week, for instance, because of the cyber attack, I've missed 6 appointments, and that's just me. So how many other people have missed at least that many appointments?
Janet Martin was diagnosed with breast cancer in March. She was supposed to meet with her surgeon last week after complications with her surgery. She can't proceed with radiation until those have been worked out. Andrew Furey is the Premier of Newfoundland and Labrador. He's in St. John's. Premier Furey, thank you very much for speaking with us today. How many people have had their personal information stolen that you know of so far?
Well, really, Katie, we don't know that information right now. It's still under an active investigation. As you can appreciate, the security around such an investigation is critical, and we have to be careful around the language that we use and the communications that we use so that it is appropriately nuanced given the sensitivities of the situation. So it is an active investigation. We had confirmation yesterday that an unauthorized access had occurred, but the exact quantum and extent of which is still actively being investigated.
Even, is there a rough ballpark? Are we talking hundreds of people, thousands of people, tens of thousands of people?
Look, I wish I could, I know everyone wants that answer, and I wish I could share it. I wish I had it. The truth is it's still under investigation, and we have to be extremely cognizant not to jeopardize that investigation, nor the future security of our systems and records.
In the news conference your government held earlier today, you say you're not aware of any cases where information that was stolen has been misused for criminal purposes. What happens if someone does have their information misused for fraud or any sort of crime? What happens to that individual?
Well, the government has been setting up supports today and into tomorrow, and there will be 1-800 numbers available for people to phone, and a website with facts for people to check. But we are committed to providing the supports that are required to look after people like that. We know that this is an anxious time. We've put in place mental health supports for people and their families, and we will be there with supports for surrounding credit check and fraud, as you suggest.
So if someone does fall victim to this, they can expect that the government will have their backs in terms of, say, financial support if they have identity theft and someone perhaps, gets a loan out from a bank misusing their information, that kind of thing?
Of course, we'll go through the normal insurance channels first, Katie, but we are here to support the citizens in this, absolutely.
One thing that my colleagues in Newfoundland and Labrador brought to my attention, they say, is that the information was not encrypted. How much responsibility does the province have for the fact that this information was obtained?
I mean, I can't speak to that at this point. Our primary focus right now and priority is getting the system returned to being operational for the health and safety of the people of the province. There will be plenty of time to do a postmortem. We take advice from experts, as I'm sure many governments across the country do. In terms of our security, we take it very seriously. But as your viewers know, this is unfortunately is becoming more common of a crime in a digital world, and we need to. Everybody, I think, collectively needs to own this and make sure that they're doing everything they can to ensure the safety of their citizens, and we're prepared to continue to do so. But there will be time to see what went wrong and where it went wrong. But as you know, this is an international digital world, and these kinds of crimes are happening all the time. And unfortunately, oftentimes bad actors are one step ahead.
You're very careful in the language you use when discussing what is going on here, and you've repeatedly cited the active investigation. I'm curious, is this cyber attack still ongoing as we speak?
Well, I mean, there is still an active investigation, and I'm obviously very careful in the choice of my language and intend to continue to be, as to not jeopardize that ongoing investigation and ongoing discussions.
But can you say whether, the people that are behind this attack, are they still obtaining information? Are they still messing around with systems? Are they still posing an active threat to the system as it stands right now?
Our officials, in combination with multiple experts across the country, have been working hard to ensure that's not the case. But it is an ongoing investigation, and we can't jeopardize that with any further discourse. All the advice we're being given is public discourse is not in our best interest in terms of inflaming the situation.
I was going to say, why is that? So many people in your province, as well as across the country, want to know what happened here. Why can't you speak further to perhaps who is behind this and how this happened?
You can appreciate this is a security issue, and it's not just a subnational security issue. I mean, this has implications to other jurisdictions. It has implications to private and public institutions. We need to make sure that we're following the advice for a quick and resourceful resolution to the situation at hand. And the advice we're being given by the experts is public discourse is not in our best interest, as it could inflame the situation and inflame the potential actors at hand.
I know that you've been speaking with experts. You've been speaking with people all across this country. Has there ever been a cyber attack like this in this country with such significant consequences?
The information that we're getting is this is, albeit relatively new. That the case is to be able to point to gain learn knowledge from are limited. Even though, as you can see in the last week or so, the frequency of this is being accelerated. So I am not going to comment on the size or scope of this yet, and the relative comparison to other jurisdictions across the country. But this is an evolving situation, and one that we're continuing to investigate, and will, in due time, provide the information that is required to you and to the people of the province and indeed the country.
I guess sort of the shorter version of that question is, from the people, based on the conversations you've had with experts, are they describing this as one of the worst cyber attacks they've ever seen?
I'm not at liberty to disclose that information, but those aren't words necessarily that are being thrown around frequently.
Fair enough. When do you expect the healthcare system to return to normal? We're hopeful that this can be restored in an effective and efficient and secured way sooner rather than later. Of course, I know the people on the front lines. I mean, they've just put in 20 months of COVID-19, and they just want to do their jobs, and they're struggling with this now, of course. But I know that there are people working behind the scenes to accelerate the return in a competent way, and we are all working hard, diligently, including people across the country. And thank you all for your support. But we're doing our best to get it up in a timely fashion, but one that is safe and confident that we have the security restored. Is there a rough timeline at play as to when that might happen?
No, I mean, what I've learned in this, Katie, is that any timeline I give could be incorrect, and then the expectations are not met, or could be not met, and in addition, it could inflame the situation from a security perspective. So we're not giving specific timelines, partially strategically and partially because they're not known.
The last question I want to ask you really quickly: are you concerned that other systems, province-wide systems, could be targeted in a similar attack?
Yeah, we have no evidence of that today.
Okay, those are all of my questions. Thank you very much, Premier Furey.
Thanks, Katie.
Hi, I'm Vashi Capellos, host of Power in Politics. See more of our show by subscribing to the CBC News channel or click the link for another video.